Hello, everybody.
So does anybody have any questions?
Anything. So it's overwhelming to see your whole life. I mean, I don't even know if I can particularly answer any question. You know.
So did you keep any of the sculpture at all, or did you just like?
It's almost all gone. There were a couple little mementos, or a couple little toes, a couple fingers, and actually there is one head that I have, and I'm wondering if I should take. I almost feel bad about that head in my studio. I almost think I should take it outside, you know what I mean, and let that go as far as it can go. Maybe put it in a little box, seal it up when it's almost gone. So I feel bad about that head, not about the toes.
You working on any projects now?
You know, everybody, people ask that. It's the one question that I'm really terrified about answering. You know, I'm 70 years old now. You know, and I've been sort of following everything my whole life, and each in the seeds. You know, each work has the seeds of the next work in it. But this piece seemed to contain almost everything. And when it ended, it wasn't like closing a chapter. It was really like closing a book. And I'm having an incredibly difficult time restarting. You know, everything seems redundant. You know, so I do these little house plants. These little so I'm thinking I'm starting small. You know what I mean? I'm just sitting like Gandhi weaving. I'm sitting at my, making little flowers and stuff. And then I'm doing like installations. I did one up in Peterborough, and I did one up in Maine, up in Bar Harbor. And I'm going out to Tulsa, to do a big installation in a. So I'm doing things, but I feel empty, you know.
Do you have any regrets?
Yeah, I have regrets, but not about the work. You know what I mean? It's you're on a trail. You get an idea. And actually, to tell you the truth, we were talking about this in the car coming up. I feel unbelievably grateful. That I've had the opportunity to take an idea and follow it from beginning, to end, to actually conceive it, you know what I mean, and then do it, and it's not that it came out great or whatever, just to have done it, it is unbelievably gratifying. But I don't know if I would have had the courage really to do that without knowing that that it would live on in this. It was like a cocoon. I was the caterpillar. You know what I mean? And,
so did you guys work together from the beginning when he had this idea and you had the idea?
Well, we did.
Right.
Yeah.
But she's the butterfly.
How did you guys find each other?
Well, I've known Jimmy practically my whole life because my father was his art dealer.
Right.
So those pictures, that was my backyard.
Right.
And when my dad died, I went back and I saw these pieces. And I actually had seen the pieces out before, and I was shocked. And it seemed to be kind of an amazing metaphor for my dad's death. And then, I don't know, it kicked off a whole other, project. Well, in some ways.
In some way. Anyway.
I'm interested to know about kind of your day in and day out process in a work that takes so long, because I imagine that you don't see necessarily a lot of progress in one day. So what drives you?
There's this great saying, "Inch by inch, Leonardo da Vinci." You step into something. It's a work. We've talked about this. But a work is like a gigantic spiral. And the first steps into the spiral are unbelievably long. You know what I mean? And sluggish. But as you move into it, it gets quicker and quicker until at the end, you're in the vortex. You know what I mean? And you can't sleep, you can't think. You know what I mean? You're spinning around like a, and you live for that. If you're an artist, you know what I mean? That's where you're absolutely, alive. So you work to get there. And anyway, that's what I miss. I miss the most. You know what I mean? I said, when can that happen again? When will I feel that intensity again? And I don't know if I will.
Do you have plans to do anything else like this at all? Or?
I don't know if it'll be like this, but like the installation that I'm going to do in Tulsa, where I just built, up in Bar Harbor, we built like a 25-foot high cardboard man, but there are all these projects that are unbelievably intense. You know what I mean? The physicality and the doing it, intense. But no, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's like I've said what I wanted to say, and it lives here. So I mean, I just don't know. I wish I could. I ask myself that same question every day. I don't know.
Do you have any students following in your footsteps?
No, I've taught for a long time. Here, Russell, he was a student, like about 50 years ago at Pratt. I don't know, but when I started, there was, I looked around the landscape, there was nobody doing cardboard or anything. I mean, but now people are doing cardboard. I get emails from all over the country and all over the world. And I just got one a couple of weeks ago. There are these people in Australia that are doing what they're called box wars. Do you know what I mean? They make cardboard armor. Do you know what I mean? Like helmets and shields, maces and swords and everything. And then they fight the people from the next town. Cardboard. It's phenomenal. So I think there's a reality and an accessibility about cardboard that's so universal. That it's sort of like, I think they should take people in government, like Congress, and they should, they should bring in like a whole bunch of cardboard, you know what I mean, and let people play for a while. It would be great,
It was an incredible movie. I felt your pain through the whole thing. I found myself crying when the wife was crying, and all this sort of thing. But did you ever find any peace in any of this?
I can't say. My daughter said. My daughter said. I don't know if I have if I have that ability to. I have.
He's a tortured artist.
But I have 5 grandkids. Do you know what I mean? Who I love with all my heart. And there are times, like the studio. If you're an artist, there are a lot of things you give up in the world. But the one thing you know how to do is play, and to build cardboard forts and 15-foot high SpongeBob with my grandkids. There's something thrilling about and wonderful about a loving family and great friends. So yeah, the answer is no.
Why don't you use interns? Because I'm looking at a lot of the tedious
when things get very,
aspects.
very intense at the end, or I've had unbelievable people that have worked with me, over the years. But there's sometimes, there's something that's you want everything perfect in a way, even though it's imperfect, and so the work is almost a testimony to imperfection. Nobody can do it right. So I'll have somebody working with me that'll put like a row of shingles, on, and they'll work all day, and then when they leave, I'll tear off their shingles and line them up the right way. It's just all little houseplants that I do. In every window there's a little teeny curtain. You know what I mean? Or a little, a collector. Somebody bought a piece and he said, why do you have to put curtains in every window? I don't know. I wish I didn't have to. Ask a film question.
What's next for the film?
Huh?
What's next for the film?
Well, Jimmy and I are actually going to DC tomorrow. We're going to show the film there, and just doing some film festivals, and then hopefully showing it in some museums, and getting it out there in the world. I hope.
When was the premiere?
Right now. Today. This is it. Anyway, yeah, Russell.
Olympia, I have to say it's a beautiful portrait that you painted of Jimmy.
Thank you.
But Jimmy, as he was saying, when I was 19, I had Jimmy as my freshman art teacher. And he was in college at Pratt. And he's been the only professor I ever had that left an indelible mark. And I hadn't seen him since I was
And
19 until this summer.
many of his students say that. That's a common.
So I think Jimmy, you have to realize it. And this summer, just by chance, and I haven't seen Jimmy since I was 19.
I wouldn't recognize him either, I gotta tell you.
He looks younger than I do. He taught a workshop for kids in Peterborough, New Hampshire, where close to where I live. And my son happened to be taking that class.
Right.
And I don't think that, Jimmy, you realize that you're looking for this heroic effort that is going to last on and on. It does. It lasted in your effect on myself. My wife also took his class at Pratt. We got married. I think it must be due to the class. and how your effect has been on all of those people who you have touched as a teacher. Don't underestimate that gift.
Russell. Thank you.
Well, and I also say that one of the things that I think you do when you do your workshops is spreading joy and letting people play, which I think is...
People love to play, and a cardboard is a great vehicle for play. But I think the only thing you can really do is you bundle something, you make something, you know, and you throw it in the pond, you know, and it sends out a ripple. But you never know really where the shore is, you know what I mean, and where that ripple really goes. So you can only be responsible for casting the stone, you know. So anyway.
Olympia, do you have other films you're working on now? Or?
I am working on a film about another artist who is very, very different from Jimmy, but he's wonderfully talented.
He's phenomenal. His name is David Beck.
Yeah,
you know, he's an extraordinary artist.
So he's, I don't know if any of you have ever seen the film Crumb, but
Yes.
he's reminds me so much of, not in his art necessarily, but his whole persona in a way. So anyway, he's a character and a great artist, and trying to get people to know who he is. So that's
Very cool.
He's phenomenal.
And do you guys live in New York? Is that right?
I live in Connecticut. I've been in Connecticut. I'm from Brooklyn originally, but I live in Connecticut for, I don't know, 40 years, right?
And I grew up in New York, but I live in Chapel Hill.
Right. So she would come up from Chapel Hill, you know, to periodically to the studio and film for how many years? So for like 6 years, you know, so a long time.
So it wasn't just like constant filming?
No, it was every, 2 months or roughly. I mean, it varied,
Right.
but kind of just over time.
Right. And we still like each other. Well, I like her.
Guys, we unfortunately have to wrap up this meeting.